Did you know if you drop a like and subscribe in the next 5 seconds, nothing will happen but it will put a giant smile on my face? Fortnite Chapter 2 Season 8 is closer than we actually think. The only thing that's left to happen before all attention is pointed toward the new season, obviously, is Superman arriving to be unlocked. And despite that being the case, we already have leaked what's going to be happening in the live event in terms of map changes to do with the lore leading into Season 8, which of course we're not only going to be breaking down how this will happen, but showing leaked gameplay footage of and pictures in today's video. And on top of that, despite rumours of Kevin the Cube returning, it looks like this is going to be a factor too in transitioning us into this brand new season. And speaking of the list of where this was leaked from, this information with some brand new characters such as Geno and the sisters perhaps making an appearance that were mentioned in the Chapter 2 Season 6 trailer, let's just say we have some juicy intel in regards to a brand new Fortnite Island, Chapter 3, and even the location of the 7 members, the 3 of which we don't currently know of. If not any of that sounds good to you, then make sure you're sticking around and watching the full video today. It would make my pug very happy, and yesterday he was tranquilized and couldn't walk very well. And you know what else would make him happy? If you simply subscribe to the channel right now, as I do give 5 subscribers every day, and still 70% of you aren't subscribed with that incentive. So whether you want to stay up to date with the latest Fortnite news or simply receive a gift, simply make sure you subscribe to the channel with all notifications turned on, and then comment your Epic Games ID down below as well as what you'd like to receive off me. So perhaps even in the next video you could be showcased like this in front of thousands of eyes to see, perhaps one too that contains a ton of information you wanted to know about. But with that said, enough messing around now, let's dive into our first points regarding Season 8 and everything you guys need to know. Okay, so one of the first things I wanted to go over is the release date of Fortnite Chapter 2 Season 8. As you guys can see on the Battle Pass menu, it states Season 7 is going up until or through September 12th. This basically means, for those that don't know anyways, that Season 7 will be ending this day, and when that typically happens with a season, we usually see downtime commence for the next upcoming one, and then the release of that season later that day. And considering Epic Games haven't been moving around these season duration dates or changing them toward the end of a season or when we're getting close to it, I wouldn't expect anything like that. The only reason I mention it or bring up that it's a factor is because it's a very small possibility that could be the case, considering at the start of this chapter they did have a hard time sticking to, well, kind of short duration seasons, and all of them I believe exceeded 100 days in total. With this season obviously coming toward an end on September 12th, speaking of the Battle Pass menu again, as briefly mentioned at the start of the video, Superman will be releasing, and this will actually be 1 month exactly before the release of Chapter 2 Season 8 or before the end of Season 7. In terms of actually unlocking Superman or the update that comes around when he arrives on the Fortnite Island available, we won't be getting him through battle stars or alien artifacts being collected. It will simply be through the completion of epic quests, and obviously he'll reside as an NPC at this specific spot that Kumar says on screen right now near Craggy Cliffs. Of course, even before Superman's available too, we have the Rift Tour event occurring from certain dates, of which are on screen right now, not only including the abduction of many named locations or POIs into different various floating states, which data miners have found in the files will not only look like this in terms of the abduction beam going down onto the Fortnite Island ready to suck up a location in mention, but here is the official animation of what will be going down or what the mothership will look like when going through this process live in game during the Rift Tour. In terms of the areas of which we know the mothership to be going to right now, in what specific order, Hypex had this to say in terms of its planned route for what we know as of now anyways, considering this live event is actually only just occurring like halfway or just over halfway through the season. The reason I say that is because obviously we're only just over 50% complete, like 53, 54 or 55, either way the exact number will be on screen right now, and typically all the live events within Chapter 2, the ones we've gotten anyway, such as the Device live event, and we've also had the Galactus Nexus War live events, these typically have occurred toward the very end of the season with a few days left remaining, so then the events that occurred in that live event are obviously portrayed or built off of in the next season cinematic trailer. Many of you may be wondering what this means, despite the fact that Ariana Grande will be making an appearance in this Rift Tour event, where apparently various artists are going to be making an appearance also. Well, this either boils down to one of 3 things. Either this isn't the only live event of Chapter 2 Season 7 in terms of being related to our story, or the mothership abducting different areas of the map. The second possibility being during this final 50% now after the Rift Tour, things are developing with the mothership that ultimately set up an event at the startup of the next season, kind of like we saw with the Zero Crisis finale, leading from Chapter 2 Season 5 into Chapter 2 Season 6. And the third possibility, which is my least favourite too, something simply developing very slowly again in this final 50% of the season, but then this only building up something that's obvious to then occur in the Chapter 2 Season 8 cinematic trailer, which isn't playable or participated in, like the Zero Crisis finale. The last interesting thing that I found in relation to the Rift Tour event, not only changing the map in terms of abducted named locations as previously mentioned, but a concert or concerts happening with various artists, was this particular thing over on Twitter that FireMonkey pointed out that the Rift Tour, in Japanese or Chinese anyway as it's stated on screen, actually shows a giant Cuddle Team leader, which could be a mascot obviously around the map that we saw hologram form a giant Cuddle Team leader in the Marshmallow concert, and obviously we saw giant Travis Scott over the island as a whole when the astronomical concert went down. And speaking of what will be happening after the Rift Tour event and the abduction of several named locations or POIs, toward the end of Chapter 2 Season 7 we can now hop into this leaked list of tons of inside intel that already seems to be coming true. As you can see, Ariana Grande's concert was predicted way before the Rift Tour was even announced. Not to mention too the validity of this being the fact that the second bullet point has kind of come true or been officially announced by Fortnite or Epic Games on their official verified Twitter, as we have Bloodsport coming to the game very soon. Here are some segments of the trailer or what the skin will look like portrayed in it anyways when it arrives finally through the item shop in Fortnite. But anyways, diving onto the Season 8 leaks, the first thing as you can see it states on here is Epic is currently trying to get the Naruto for the Season 8 Battle Pass, kinda like Superman is this season or Neymar Jr. was last season, or Predator in Chapter 2 Season 5 being the unlockable skin kind of halfway through the season that we can get through Epic quests. Believe it or not, this was initially leaked a while ago, with things that also came true from these leaks that poured out during the Apple vs Epic court trial or hearing, which is now over, such as the LeBron James Icon Series skin. As you can see, data miners way back then during that time period anyways said that Naruto was predicted to be or expected to be a skin that's being worked on currently for the future of Fortnite as a whole. This definitely makes sense for them to add the Naruto, although I've not watched the show myself. The only anime I've really watched is Death Note, and let me know what your favourite anime is in the comment section down below. Either way, I'm guessing it's good considering so many people have made videos just around this sole subject, and obviously Epic Games have seen that the community really like the anime skins that they've either implemented in a battle pass or throughout the item shop as a bundle. For this reason, they've probably wanted to do an anime collaboration skin for the battle pass in a future one anyways for quite some time now, and it looks like this is going to be coming true. Further validity to back this up in terms of Naruto being the secret or unlockable integrated skin in the Season 8 Battle Pass is the fact that we're going to be seeing a weapon from the show Naruto itself in Season 8 called the kunai or kunai weapon. As you can see, this is what it looks like in image form anyways from a quick Google search, and obviously it looks like something similar to what the Batarang was in Chapter 1 Season 9, where we could throw it would be explosive, as it specifically states again in the bullet point that Season 8 will include this being an explosive weapon that is handheld. Maybe this is a mythic weapon and maybe we get Boss Naruto in-game at some said named location. That obviously is a big map change or factor changing in Season 8 because of what we're now about to mention about the storyline or events happening to make this so. As you can see, the first bullet point on here for the upcoming season/chapter news being, stuff leading into Season 21 of Fortnite, or should I say Chapter 3 Season 1. The cube will return at the end of Season 7 controlled by Unknown Queen character that will play a part in Chapter 3. It's definitely no secret by now in Chapter 2 that we've all been anticipating the cube to return at some point, considering not only has Donald Mustard stated that it's a possibility by saying he might not be gone forever over on his Twitter, but also at the same time we have so many Easter eggs or hidden intricate clues pointing toward this being a factor, such as matching the maps up from Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 overlaying directly on top of each other, where it spawned in on the outskirts of Paradise Palms in Chapter 1 through the big strike of lightning, bigger than any other. From this matchup or layering of the two maps on top of each other, this location where it initially spawned in Chapter 1 Season 5 directly falls at the redacted bunker, which we haven't known a purpose for 7 whole seasons. Also, for those that don't know, considering we had the random Fortnite Storm King LTM in Chapter 2 Season 1, this may have not been entirely random and might be related somewhat to further lore developments, and the reason for this being is because the Storm King is actually correlated to Kevin the Cube, considering it was first spotted in Save the World Before Battle Royale when we fight the Storm King as the final boss. And yes, even characters like Raz not only having that Kevin the Cube runic imprint kind of engraved into his skin, but the backbling that comes along with him having a glowing kind of Storm King head on it. This only further enforces the reappearance of both factors, maybe perhaps at the same time, or maybe perhaps because one of the other coming first, being Kevin the Cube and the Storm King. Despite it being hyped that Kevin the Cube is most likely returning due to the validity of this list or who leaked it being a source that's predicted things in the past, such as everything Primal upcoming and things coming in Chapter Chapter 2 Season 6 overall before it released. The main thing that caught my eye was the fact that there'll be an unknown Queen character, and as you guys know, we've seen a lot of male forefront characters until Dr. Sloan appeared this season, such as Agent John Jones and even King-like characters such as the Ice King. I assume the Foundation, although we can't see his or its face anyways, is a male. And speaking of the Foundation, could this Queen character be a part of one of the groups he mentioned, being Jenna or specifically the Sisters, which I'm guessing are female characters? Maybe perhaps said Queen character that's going to be playing a large part in Chapter 3 is the leader of Jenna or the Sisters, but I guess we're yet to know. Either way, speaking of Chapter 3 and their large involvement in it, whether it is the Sisters and Jenna or just this Queen character being the leader of one of these organizations, let's just say what happens now on the lead up to Chapter 3 is going to be astronomical, no Travis Scott pun intended, as these final 3 seasons leading up until the end of Chapter 2 Season X are building up to redesign the map completely once again, like we saw from the transition into the black hole from Chapter 1 into Chapter 2, but Chapter 2 into Chapter 3. Of course, as of right now, we don't know how this is going to look, this brand new map, although we did get the Chapter 2 map leaked very early on over on Reddit, but nobody wanted to believe it considering it was so early on. So obviously this time around, I'll keep you guys up to date with any specific leaks that come out, whether they seem real or not, because anything's a possibility at this point considering we are quite far off that. And speaking of this Queen character or Jenna and the Sisters and perhaps this Queen character being the leader of them, you may be subconsciously thinking to yourself now, well, don't get ahead of yourself considering we don't know all the members of the Seven yet, what they look like even in suit form without the visor removed. Well, for our next bullet point now as we move on, you'll be glad to know that supposedly anyways the location of the Seven will be revealed in Chapter 3 in terms of where they've resided the whole time, planned in terms of going to different universes of Fortnite out of the entire multiverse. And hopefully this then means we not only get to see the final 3 remaining members in terms of what they look like in their kind of suits anyways, but what would be even cooler is they all opened their visors and we saw what snapshots of characters actually resided underneath, which believe it or not we may know one of right now considering Donald Mustard, when he put a video out over on Twitter signing one of these comic books for Batman 0 Point, he said that the Singularity being the Chapter 1 Season 9 skin was only one of this character's names and also at the same time will play a big part in the future story of Fortnite. Who knows, maybe Singularity is the paradigm and also then could be this Queen character, but I'm guessing this has nothing to do with the Seven. I don't know. Honestly, I'm just really excited to see the remaining members of the Seven, ultimately what their purpose is in this entire multiverse of Fortnite, and realistically why they're doing what they're doing. Speaking of Fortnite being built up of many universes in a multiverse, however, with different dimensions connecting one another, with all of the crazy stuff that's set to happen up until the release of Season 8, this makes sense, this next bullet point now, as something is supposedly going to be implemented called the Sideways as a new dimension similar to what Stranger Things have with the Upside Down that we could also enter when their collaboration was active in Chapter 1 Season 9. Considering its comparison here to Stranger Things, I'm guessing this is going to be like the dark side or the ulterior parallel universe dark side to what we play now on the Fortnite island. And of course in here in terms of the monsters, we don't know what's set to appear yet or what it's yet to release into, well, the wild I guess, but a very strong possibility would be the zombie husks that we've seen in the past spawning through these cube shards that kind of come up through the ground. And maybe these are some of the monsters that appear in this ulterior dimension called the Sideways, however it's not going to be all of them, as the last bullet point kind of gives us a clue toward being the case anyways, as there will be rideable monsters supposedly, and we know we can't ride the zombie husks anyways as of now. And it also states that the mechs, you know, these things from Chapter 1 Season X that either everybody loved or hated, there was no in between, they will be returning to the island at some point, but probably not Season 8 or this season. Honestly, this one kind of makes me happy because I'm not ready for mechs to be doing this around the Chapter 2 island as of yet, and so many bugs or glitches being found with them. Maybe these make sense to return because of the IO developing more kind of technology to fight off the invaders, being the aliens obviously initially in the mothership that have come onto the Fortnite island. And if you didn't know, that's kind of the direction of the whole story this season. The IO is trying to, well, defend this reality from aliens taking over. But anyways, before more information is spilled or leaked about the upcoming season or chapter, those are all the details we have, so I want to thank all of you guys for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, I want to keep referring back to it or share it with friends or get the video out there to more people because these leaks are very reliable. Slap a like in the video down below. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, of course, if you don't want to miss upcoming future content with all notifications turned on. In terms of where you go to now, make sure to click one of these videos on screen because I've filtered it best for you, the viewer, so something will definitely pop up, either one of which you'll enjoy. But of course, most importantly, however, if you don't click one of these, hopefully I can catch you in the very next video I publish on the channel.